All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this October 25th, 2024. Hope everybody's doing well out there. All right, so purpose of Stock Analysis Friday, if this is your first time, is for you to have me look up some of your stocks or ETFs that you may be either thinking about trading, perhaps you're already in them, or perhaps you got a call from your broker and he's trying to get you to buy it. So we'll take a look at it and tell you what we think technically. And also, too, if you type in your symbols for me to look at, do those in caps for me. Okay, you can do those right in the comments area. All right, before I get going here on the actual stocks, let me just run through some of the risk control stuff that I have to present here. We want you to be aware of the risks involved in trading. There's no guarantees. We work in a realm of probabilities. So we have to use risk control on every trade. And you also have to trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. If you're interested in day trading, for example, the futures markets, I suggest if you need to have some money to do that, is definitely think about a prop firm, okay? We have one that we use called Apex Trader Funding. I'm gonna put a link up there because they're having a sale, and you can grab our link up there and you can take a look at that. And so I put that in the chat area for you. All right, also too, I've got tons of books out there. My newest book, The Art of Trading, coming out this year, published by Wiley Trading. And then I have books on money management and other forms of technical analysis. Software we're going to be using today to analyze the markets is called the ART Trading Software, along with the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. We have scanners. We will not be using those today, and risk control software, and we won't be using those today. All right, so let me come out of here and let's hop right in here. We're going to be together for about 30 minutes. So when you type in your stocks, do so in caps and do 3 at a time. And let me know if you're long or you're short or you're thinking about a stock. That way I can tailor the analysis better for you. All right, before we get going, I want to take a look at the overall markets real quick. I also want to, if you're new here, what you're looking at is our software, which is in NinjaTrader. It's also in TradeStation, Multicharts, MT4 and MT5, and eSignal. But we're using Ninja today. I've got scanners running at the top of the screen, and we will not be using those. Those are the ones that look rainbow colored. In the bottom portion, you'll see 3 charts, all of the same symbol. For example, this one is the 60-minute chart. This is the daily, and this is the weekly. And then you can see all our indicators loaded on each chart. And our indicators are down here as well. So if you want to learn more about those, you can go to our website. We got tons of videos. I'll even put some links in the recording for you. All right, so why do we look at 3 different charts in the same symbol? It's a form of multiple time frame analysis, and what we're taking a look at is the short term on the far left, the intermediate term, and the longer term aspect of whatever we're looking at, and it helps us better take a look and see what's going on. All right, so the S&P 500, I'm going to cover just the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. They're pretty much, the same in terms of what's going on with them. Notice on the far right-hand side, I'm just going to open up this chart real quick here. Notice that we go back to pretty far on here. It goes back to what, 2002. But if you draw the Elliott wave and fibs on here, basically we're looking at a major top up here between 60.68 to 76.57, and we're at 58.57. So the S&P is getting closer to its top. Not quite there yet. The Dow is sitting in the target already. But, when we get this close, we got to be a little bit careful because trends can end a little bit short of the target. I don't think that's going to be the case with the markets right now, simply because, there's so many stocks out there that are showing more highs as well, that's an indication that there's more up room. Doesn't mean we can't get a slight pullback, but definitely some more upturn before the market shifts and heads down. So I've drawn some trend lines on here. You can certainly see the market is staying above all the trend lines. Our triangular pyramid trading point, which are measuring fractals in the market for entries, exits down here, are all still active and in place. So none of those have been stopped out. So there's no way you can look at this chart and not realize that we're in an uptrend, okay? Especially if you focus in on what's happened in the last year. So it's been a pretty good year. We're still above the trend lines. And if we go to the daily chart, you have a similar situation. So kind of interesting. And let's just take a quick look at the NASDAQ. And you'll see a similar situation there too. There we are getting closer to the NASDAQ top, 19,342 up to 25,016. So there we are. Okay, so I just want to cover that real quick. Markets are still pretty strong. We're going into an election week soon, and we probably will see some volatility. Usually we get a little bit of a bracketed market when we get into or close to the election because traders are taking a pause to see what's going to happen with that. So we'll see. All right, so let's take a look and see what's cooking out there. Stuart, welcome. Good to have you here. All right, ZM, and you are long on these. All right. Okay, Stuart, not bad. All right, so what I'm liking on ZM here on the weekly chart, I'm going to open that weekly chart up. And we go back to 2020, not a lot of history, but up and down. All right, so definitely a poster child chart for trading versus buy and hold, right? Okay, so what are we doing with this? Well, it looks like we had a nice area here where it bottomed, all right? And that area lasted a long time. So that's behind us. And it looks to me like we may be starting to break out on the weekly chart. If we focus in on that, Stuart, you can see we have here a bullish pyramid. We have a bottom possibly in. So that's a good sign. We no longer have short trades. Look how well these pyramids did shorting the market, okay? Really well. All right, so now we've broken out. Let's just see. We got a couple things here to keep an eye on here. And let me just draw a line here. All right, so that technically is kind of the top of the channel it's been in. And I'd like to see it break out from there. So that's kind of, you could go in now early for a long-term trade, or you could wait for the breakout. The other thing too is we had only one big push off the bottom. And usually what happens is at some point after that first initial push, even if it goes above the channel, you'll get a pullback. All right, so we want to see what that pullback does. Is it going to go below the bottom and make another low? Or is the bottom going to hold as the low and have it spring up? So that would be a major buy as well if it goes above there. So the pyramid is locking you in for an early entry. And if you're in, put your stop at the bottom. But if you're not in and you want to be a little more conservative, you can certainly wait. Let's see if there's any reason to wait on the other time frames. So that's the long-term chart we're looking at. We've got also some entries in here. We got a little bit of bearish divergence building in this indicator we call the OWL, which measures momentum and also is used for Elliott wave count. So that's kind of indicating that we may get a pullback on this thing. So actually that would be good. I'd like to see the pullback and see how well it holds before it goes up. Let's take a look at our 60-minute chart on the far left. And again, that's had a number of pyramids in a row. So it's probably due for a pullback. So you probably, if you waited on this, you probably could get it at 66. But for an early entry, let's go ahead and put this down as a buy. And, I like it for a long-term trade. The only thing left to do is what could be the possible target on this. And it's going to be quite high because basically we don't have that much activity to go off. Basically, the only thing we could draw is a fib retracement here for our first target. And as you can see, it's 191 to 276. So that's a double your money. So the risk to reward is there without a problem. So early entry, yeah, okay, it's okay. Just realize no slam dunk. All right, RMD, let's take a look at that bad boy. Good job on that one, Stuart. All right, so RMD we've looked at before, heading up nicely. Okay, our target right now is 310 to 421. It's at 257, a little close to the target right now, unless it pulls back. So this is one I think we looked at before and recommended a while ago. This in terms of Elliott wave is 3, 4 and a 5 up here with a target right here on that. So it will take a little while to get up there, but it's getting pretty close. And at this particular point, everything is green that needs to be green. Our PTF down here, which is that one under the owl. So remember, this one is the owl. This is the PTF is green. 75% probability on this indicator, meaning it's telling us there's more highs to come. So we had a breakout today again, gap up. So I think it's moving up. Hopefully you got in earlier. I'm not going to recommend this one simply because let's wait for it, see if we can get it at a better price on a slight pullback if that occurs before it gets to the target. If you're long already on these like you are, just stay with it. Okay, there's no reason to get out of that. All right, let's see what we got here. Small short position for Wednesday underwater, TQQQ. And let's see how what we got cooking here. All right, so it's moving a little bit against you, I would say, right? So far, but not too bad. All right, so the pyramid is up. So you went against a bullish pyramid. All right, so I would not have taken that long position on this time frame. You have red here, but that just formed recently, and that's good, but it's also about to turn green. I think if you are short on this, all right, we have to, you got bearish divergence building, but you may get one more high. I'm trying to think, they've taken out liquidity here, okay? Then they took it out here. So if you don't get a reversal pretty soon, then the next liquidity area is here. So that's the only thing. Now, maybe it could turn around because they just took out liquidity again and it will head back down. So I probably would stay short on this. And I don't know how much of it you have, but you're going against the trend. If you draw a trend line, there it is. So what you're hoping for is a reversal here off these liquidity points, and you may get that. But realize that you are going against the trend on pretty much all time frames. So you got a trade here you probably don't want to be short in. But since it's a small short, why don't you keep it a little bit longer and see if you get a reversal. All right, so that's pretty much it. I wouldn't hold it too much. If it gets beyond this top, then it's probably going to go up for another couple days there. So I would say probably give it a little bit of time. Maybe put your stop in this gap here and see how that goes, okay? So there you have it. All right, so that is TQQQ. All right, let's see what else. Also, too, with the election week coming, you may get some volatility and be able to get out of that at a small profit or at least break even. All right, let's see what else we got cooking here. The other thing I want to do on this, let me just see if I can bring up one more indicator. Let me just see here what we got here. Let me see here if I can find my flexible volume profile. Let's put that in there and see if that will give us a hand here. I think I've got it loaded on this computer, so let's see what we got cooking here. If I can get that up, that may give us a clue of whether we're at a point that is pretty close to reversal. So let's just see what we got there. Let me just see if this is working. Yeah, it's not loading right now. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. All right, so let's take a look at the volume profile in this, and let's just go back a little bit of ways here. All right, so you got a lot of volume down there at the beginning here. Let me open it up a little bit further here. We'll go back. All right, so not much volume up in this side going back to April here. So most of the volume is down here. If we you've cleared this area here, there's not a lot of volume up here. So it does have some legs to move up here pretty quickly. Let's just go and take a quick look here. All right, so your next area, POC, is up here. So you very possibly could get up there if we break this high. So probably we'll have to see. Hopefully that will hold for you, but I would say that's not looking good for a short position, okay? All right, let's keep going here. All right, let's see. BJ South, how are you? All right, NIM, small position. Well, long position. Good, thank you. All right, moved against today, huh? Okay, Sue, let's take a look at the long-term look here first, quick. All right, so you probably got in going up on this trend here, and now it's pulling back. Must have been some news out on this maybe today or something, but that's a fairly significant pullback. All right, so the pullback is not over. And I say that because on this short-term chart over here, we've got red and red. So more lows are coming on this. How much more lows? Let's take a look here and see if we draw a fib in here. We're in the extension here. So maybe as low as 41 on this before you see a reversal. Could reverse at 44. All right, it's in that Fibonacci target. Things you have going forward for you here, you have a green PTF, all right? Now, that could change red if we see a lot more momentum down. You can see the line inside the PTF heading towards the lower band, and that will turn it red. You definitely have bearishness on the short-term chart, for sure on that. So probably at this particular point, you have a pyramid on this chart here you could use for a stop. All right, that should keep you in on a normal retracement. So you probably want to have your stop probably right around 40 or 39, right around there. But that's 10 points. That's a lot. Okay, so, there you have it. You could put it right at 41, right under here. That's another 7 points, almost 10%. So basically, at this point here, you should get a rebound in this area. But I think it's got to go down a teeny bit further. So I'm going to let you determine whether you want to hold that or not. All right. So basically, one of the things is that when you go long or short on a position, always use the right trade size to account for the distance of a particular stop loss level based on the actual market, not on your pocketbook. So that way, if you know there's a possible significant pullback, lower your trade size so that pullback will not impact you like a larger trade size would. That way you can be calm and stay in the trade versus having a too large a trade size making you nervous, so to speak, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, let me take a quick look at crypto if you don't mind. I'm going to do that by looking at GBTC, which is a very popular ETF for Bitcoin. You can always buy the actual Bitcoin BTC market. But this one here is, to me, looking like a bottom is in on crypto. And I think it's heading up. And I think it probably should pick up some speed here pretty soon. And I'm going to take a look at the weekly chart first. So this is the longer term chart here. So if we look at this, let me just bring some of these indicators down here so we can see that better. All right, so my target for this particular move is right around 73 to 94. Now, I know there's a lot of people with Bitcoin that plan to hold it for their entire life, give it to their kids, the whole 9 yards, and that's fine, all right? But short term, this is the target we should reach, I think, probably in the next 6 months. Now, what happens when it gets to this target? Well, then, and it could go up to 94. It could go beyond this. It could go into the hundreds. We'll have to see how significant this next move is. But that is basically a Fibonacci extension target based on this current move up we've had since 2023. So I think we'll take out the 2023 March high and head on up here at some point. And then I think when it does reverse in this general area up here, you got to be a little careful because then it could shift and go into a correction that could last a few years. Okay, so again, if you're going to hold this for generations, you hold it. But if you're trying to time this better, then you got to be a little careful in thinking about getting out, at least on some of your profits up there. All right. So one thing I found about Bitcoin so far that's been very interesting in general, I always was looking at Bitcoin for quite some time as a hedge against the stock market. In other words, people put their money in the metals, the gold, silver, and we should take a look at those today too. But I was thinking crypto would be another area people would put their dollars into, and I think they will. The only problem I've noticed is that when the stock market goes down, crypto goes down. All right, so it'll be interesting to see if it maintains a direct relationship or converts into an inverse relationship. But in any case, let's, you can stay long on this, I think, and take it right up to the target up here. And then we're going to draw some trend lines and we're going to look at some support levels. And I would not get out, just blindly get out up here, but I would go ahead and track it just like you would any other trend trade with stops in place. And let's see how high it can go. All right, it may just get above $100 if this thing is strong enough. But I do think there's a bottom in crypto. I think that was put in here. All right, could it go down again? Anything is possible for sure. But this looks like a pretty good bottom that formed here. And things, it's a good wave 3, A, B, C. So all that looked really good for a 4. And now we should be coming up into a 5. That's kind of what I'm thinking on Bitcoin. So I still think if you want to add, take a trade on it, you could buy it now. As I said before, I was pounding the table when we hit here. This is a buy zone. All right, so hopefully many of you got in already, but it's not too late. You still got good risk to reward up there. You can put some in now, see if it pulls back, put some more in, but the overall trend to me looks bullish, and that pretty much is for all the major cryptos. So I did want to cover that. All right, silver, I want to take a look at that bad boy because silver now has taken off. It has just touched our target zone up here. So that's a good sign. We still have green on our PTF indicator. So I want to hold this. 75% accuracy rate on this indicator here indicates more highs even if we get a pullback. So you kind of want to hold that. And that's a level that once you reach that, you'll probably see a fairly decent pullback unless we have a switch over here for wave 3 and we're close to doing that. So stay with silver for right now. We'll keep looking at it every week. And the long-term charts, if we open those up, are looking pretty decent. We got a high back here that could be taken out. We took out this channel here. And let's see what happens. This owl here is still the highest one. So and you have bearish divergence. So I'd like to see if this owl can build itself into the largest of the owls. And then you'd have a chance of taking out that high over 50, okay? So, I mean, this looks like a pretty good place for a significant bottom. So I think it will get up there. It's not going to happen overnight, but I don't think silver is so bad. All right, let's take a look at GLD. What a rocket ship this has been. All right, so let's open up this thing here. This was quite a big move up here. I mean, huge move. So what I want to do here real quick is notice that this high here occurred in 2011. This was labeled a 3 by us, 4 and 5. So we've reached the target, but now we've got a situation I want to look at. You see this owl here? Let me just circle that. So you had an owl here and an owl here. Let me just move those up so we can see them better. All right, so here, this owl here still remains higher by just a hair than that one. If this one gets higher, then this will be a major wave 3. Currently, it's a minor 3 inside of 5. So we'll see what happens with that. So this gold could be on the beginning of actually a huge tear unless, all right, this owl does not make it above there. Then we're looking at more of a top. So you want to hold gold, all right? I think it's really strong right now. It's above all the trend lines. Will we get a pullback regardless if this is a new huge move up or the end of a longer move? We'll see. But for right now, everything is above the trend lines and above pyramids. So you can hold gold for now, okay? And again, I think we should look at this one as well. All right. So the other one to take a quick look at here is UNG. And UNG is the ETF for natural gas. And I got to tell you, this was a nail biter. We had a double bottom that we recommended a buy on, okay, on UNG. And that was back in here and here on the daily chart. Nice move off that. At least our first target was here. We just missed it. So 70% of the time we have a chance of getting there. 15% of the time they're shallow. And then 15% of the time they continue. So this is still green. This is green. We've got a lot of green down here. And what happened is we got so close to the bottom, which is not unusual for a big pullback, but we had one already. So let's see what happens with this. We still got a little bit of red there. And so, yes, this is an early entry, but we're hoping that bottom holds. And you've got an opportunity for a low risk trade if you wanted to take it now with a stop below that bottom. So indications are this could be a decent trade, but that bottom's got to hold. So if you're in UNG from a previous recommendation, you stay with it because the stop has to be at the bottom, right? We told you that before. So let's see how that does. And if this thing does go, we're talking probably if it can get into this target, and you want to hold it, then the next longer term target should be at least 45 to 66. So you could do quite well on that one. And that is UNG. And TLT, which is the ETF for the bond market, is coming down now. And we have a red PTF over here on the weekly chart. So I'm not recommending this one for a buy with a red PTF on the weekly chart. We're going to continue to watch it. This is basically saying the bottom's not in yet. I would like to go long TLT, but not yet. Okay, it's just for us not quite ready until some of these indicators change and show it's bullish at that point. All right, price structure changed a little bit. Now it's pulling back, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay, I guess that's it for today. I don't see any more picks coming in. And if you have any, feel free to type them in the chat area. But otherwise, those are kind of the ones I wanted to cover. I think cryptos look pretty good. Okay, so if you're in cryptos, you can hold those. All right. And again, USO, by the way, that's another ETF for crude oil. And the USO is looking pretty good in terms of if we open up the longer term chart. Okay, it's heading up into the 99-125 range. And this looks to us like a bottom here. A little bit of sideways motion. We kind of would like it to get going here. And it certainly should at some point break out. Okay, we're even kind of getting a pennant forming on the weekly chart here. And if you drew that in, it would be something kind of like that and that. And so whichever way it breaks out of a pennant like that is usually pretty powerful, okay? All right, so the winner today is ZM, okay? ZM. So let's quickly go back to that. And there she blows, okay? So you're getting in fairly close to the bottom on this. And this was one, I think, Stuart, this was yours. And this was looking pretty good as we're breaking out at this point. And again, you'll get a pullback probably, maybe only, to 70 or something, but it's only at 72. And the upside potential is pretty huge on this. So I wouldn't worry about a small pullback. But if you wanted to try to time it, you can have our software. You can do that and get it on the pullback. All right, so that's it for today. I'm just going to go over, take a look at the MES and see what's cooking on this time frame here. All right, so we're coming down on the MES this morning. Wow, what a nice short trade that would be. Here is a fair value gap here with liquidity here and here. So that's setting up to be actually a area where you're probably going to get a bounce. However, okay, we'll see if that bounce, we still have red PTF here. So even if it hits there, if that remains red, then any bounce is just that. However, if this turns to yellow, this may be a bottom and it will head up. So we'll have to see how that unfolds. But I would say we'll probably take this liquidity out here, okay? That's the way they work it intraday. And then we have to see if they'll take this liquidity out under there. So kind of that's what we'd look at for there. All right, so I'm going to just leave it here for a couple minutes before we close the room. All right, and if that's the case, then, and this will be a long trade up here once it takes the liquidity out. And hopefully the PTF will change to yellow at that point, but we'll see. All right, so that's it for today. We'll see you back here next week. Thank you for coming, everybody. And here we are going into November almost. Time is flying. But I'll put some music on. You can watch this intraday MES. This is a 1 minute time frame in the center, by the way, 15-second on the left, and then the whopping long-term 5 minute on the right. All right, have a good one. Thanks so much.